What's up, everybody? Week 2, digital online learning. How did week 1 go? Let me know in the chat. Give me a scale of 1 to 5. Okay, 1, hated it. 5, loved it. 3, it was good. So 4 would be like, I liked it actually quite a bit. And then 2 is like, nah, I didn't really like it, but it wasn't bad. Right? 3 is good. 1 is I didn't like it. 5 is really liked it. While we wait for some others to join, get your piece of paper, get your book, okay, and get your title. And if you have a table of contents, do the table of contents. I really encourage you to stay organized during this digital learning time and actually be taking paper notes, okay? Don't just sit there and let it go fly by, okay? This is a little bit harder than last week, okay? More so, it's just longer questions, way more lines of work. Similar process, you just remember the formula and then fill in what you know, okay? But the amount of work is quite a bit more than last week, okay? So right now, just as we wait for people to kind of join, put in your table contents and your title, okay? A little spiel here. Always happy to have you guys in the chat. But remember that once I get going, this is going to be like a classroom. So I'll have some fun in the chat, but then we'll calm down and we'll get focused and try to interact in the chat like you would in the classroom during a lesson, respectfully, answering questions, interacting, engaging. Cool to make jokes, but just stay on track. Cool? All right. So let's do it. So we are in our measurement unit still. Okay, it's a shorter unit. I'm going to try and do some sort of assessment at the end of this week. Okay, this assessment will include last week's and this week's. The focus of this is to see how you are doing with the digital online learning. Okay, kind of like a diagnostic where I want to see, are you guys getting it? Are you not getting it? Is this working? Is it not working? Okay, so it's not that I don't want you to panic about it. It's not that I do want you to panic about it. I do want you to take it seriously. I do want you to try, but this is not going to be on your report card impacting your marks, okay? So with that said, let's move. All right, so according to the curriculum, you need to be able to determine through investigation using a variety of tools, okay, and a variety of strategies, the relationship for calculating the circumference and the area of a circle, and also a cylinder, okay? And you'll notice it says, and how to develop the formula. So a lot of the time spent in this lesson is actually going to be talking about how we get the formula for surface area of a cylinder, okay? I could just give you the formula, but the curriculum wants you to know how the formula was created. Okay, so here's another one, solving problems using the calculation of circumference and area of a circle. Okay, hopefully you remember that word circumference. All right, are you ready? Let's do it. Last week, we had popcorn, we had pop, we had Pringles. Man, still have the Pringles actually. I should throw that out. Lots of cylinders, lots of food was being ate last week, and it was delicious. This week, it will be a little less scrumptious for me, okay? We will be dealing with poop. Boop, 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 boop. Now, maybe some of you are sitting there and being like, yo, I swear that I saw that can of soup on Mr. STAV's desk all year long. Yes, I plant things in my classroom for you to notice. And some of you may have noticed, not this exact can of soup because I was still sitting in the classroom. This has been around my desk for you guys to be like, oh, I was wondering why that was there. It was for this lesson. Let's get to it. Bum, 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 bum. Another nice little GIF there. Shout out to all the GIF haters. All right, so we have a cylinder, and we're talking about surface area this week. Remember last week we talked about volume. how much could go inside of it, the capacity inside of it. But now we don't want to talk about capacity. We want to talk about the area. Okay, so essentially, what would be painted on here? Okay, so it's really, really important to understand the parts of a soup can. So we have the top, and I really hope you're yelling, Mr. STAV, this is annoying because that's a circle. Yes, that shape is a circle. But if you flip it around, shocker, another circle. In fact, I'm going to write on here, circle 1 and circle 2. I feel like a magician. And what I'm about to do will wow you. Now, if I was to take off the circle, I could hold a circle in my hand and it would look like this. Okay, so there would be 2 circles in my hand and I would be left with a can like this. What if I took scissors or a knife and I sliced down the cylinder body? Okay, I would go like this. And I would unroll this can. We actually would see a different shape. What shape is this? What shape am I showing you? For clarity, let me roll it like that. What shape is that? Let me know in the chat what you see. Okay, we got a rectangle here. Okay, so a cylinder is composed of a circle on top, a circle on the bottom, and the body is actually a rectangle. Okay, so the net, right? Remember back in a couple years ago, you would cut out shapes and you would roll them and make them. And so this would be the net, what you're seeing on the screen, how to make a cylinder. You would cut out 2 circles and a rectangle. Okay, now you remember how to find the area of a rectangle. How do you find an area of a rectangle? Tell me in the chat right now. Type it in the chat. How do you find the area of a rectangle? Okay, so we have rectangle, get wrecked. Okay. So area equals what? Okay, I'm seeing it there. Length times width. Okay. Okay, so if it was 2 and 4, then it'd be 2 times 4. Okay. Boom. Booyakasha. So, if you're taking notes, which I really hope you are, to find the area of a cylinder, we need to find the area of the pink circle, the area of the green rectangle, and the area of the blue circle. Okay? That is how we find the area of a cylinder. Okay? So we talked about area of a rectangle is area equals length times width. But going back in time, do you remember how to find the area of a circle? Let me know in the chat. You have to go back in your notes, which might be in your locker, so that might be hard. Okay. But how do you find the area of a circle? Remember, we're not talking about the circumference of the circle, not the way around the circle. It's the inside space. How do we find the area of a circle? Okay, see it in the chat, hopefully. Okay, area equals pi r squared. Mr. STAV, didn't we use this last week? Yes. Yes, we did. And we multiplied it by height. Do you remember that? Okay, so it shouldn't be too hard to remember this. Area equals pi r squared. Area of a circle. Write that down. Area of a circle is pi r squared. Area of a rectangle is length times width. Okay, so let's write that in there, and let's write the same formula, because that's also a circle. Okay, this should be in your notes. Write this down, copy this down. If you're just sitting there taking this in, don't waste your time. Okay, spend the time, get a pencil, get a pen, I don't care. Open up a Google Doc and write some stuff. Okay, but don't just sit there. You need to take the notes. Okay, I didn't see as many people as I wanted at guided math, so hoping to see some more people at guided math this week. Okay, make sure you sign up at bit.ly/STAV online guided. Okay, make sure you sign up because I want to work with you. I want to help you. Okay. With that said, it was pretty fun. I saw a bunch of people, and it was a good reunion. Cool. Let's move on. So the formula would actually look like this, because we work right, left to right. So the area of the cylinder would equal the area of a circle plus the area of a rectangle plus the area of a circle. Okay, so we're trying to find the whole shape. So this is one part of the shape, this is one part of the shape, and this is one part of the shape. So the area of the top, the area of the bottom, and the area of the rectangle that wraps around those two circles. Okay? And since we know those formulas, we can just plug them in. Area equals pi r squared plus length times width plus pi r squared. Okay? Write that down. You'll notice, first of all, that this is getting annoying to write down. Okay? It's longer. Remember I said that this is longer because last week, all we did was pi r squared and we added an h in here. And that was the whole formula last week. You'll see that this week it's quite a bit longer and we have a lot more to plug in. Okay? So think about all the lines that you're going to have to do. It's going to get annoying. But I hear some people, I hear Kurt in the chat. I hear him yelling from his computer at home saying, Mr. Stab, but wait. Why do I have to write pi r squared twice? Well, the answer is because there's two circles. So you have to find the area of one circle and the area of the other circle. But then Jose's yelling and saying, Mr. Stab, they're the exact same size. So why wouldn't I just find one and then double it? To that I say, Jose, excellent point. That would save a lot of time. A lot of time. So let's do that. Okay? So for those of you that are wondering, here it is. You'll notice there's two circles, the same formula because they're the same size triangle. Okay? If these are same size circle, not triangle. If these circles are different, we're not talking about a cylinder. Okay? These have to be the same size. So what Jose was saying is there's two of them. So we could actually just group them together, say the area of two circles plus the area, all right, so that's pi r squared, plus the area of a rectangle. Okay, so area of two circles, you see what we're doing here? We're going to multiply pi r squared by 2. Hopefully you're sticking with me because that pink circle is the pi r squared, and I'm adding the blue. Okay, hopefully you're using colors at home too. Okay, always helps to use colors. Okay, so we've got two circles. Okay, one circle is pi r squared multiplied by 2. Okay, and then the area of a rectangle continues to be length times width. All right, copy that down. All right. Got a riddle here for you. What do you call an angle that got into a car crash? Let me know in the chat. Write it in the chat. What do you call an angle that got into a car crash? Kiana, this is for you. Zanaya, I know you're watching. I know you love this. What do you call an angle that gets into a car crash? Are you ready for this? A rectangle. Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. Oh, man. Amika, thank you for laughing. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, back to business. So we're talking here that this is a rectangle, okay? We're saying that to find the area of this rectangle is area equals length times width. Now here's the problem. When you're answering cylinder questions, they don't give you length and width. Okay, here's a question that looks just like what you saw on your independent work last week. And I know you saw it because you all did it. Okay, they give you this measurement. What is this measurement? Write it in the chat. What is this? Okay, good. This is the radius. Okay, this is the radius of a cylinder or of the circle. Okay, and then what is this measurement? Write it in the chat. What is it? Okay, we call this height. And so last week we used both of these when we said pi r squared times height. So we just plugged that one in there, and we plugged that one in there. Okay, you're all with me here, yeah? So here's the problem. We're looking for length and width for my rectangle. Where would you find those measurements in a question that I give you on a test? This is our pickle. This is where things get a little bit tricky. Okay? If your little sister's in the background and she's bugging you right now, tell her, Mrs. Dow's about to blow my mind, and it's going to be a little bit confusing, so I need some concentration. Okay? Get yourself some focus, put it in your headphones, turn up the volume. Okay? Need to really follow here. This is where the math gets a little tricky. Okay? You need the measurement length and width, but we have radius and height. We don't have length and width. Okay? So, going to the next animation here, we would say that this is the length. So, you know, my pink highlighter. Let's go ahead and make my camera big for the next little bit. Okay, so if you're looking at, okay, we would say that this is the length of a rectangle. Okay? Or maybe width. Okay, really? Up to you which one you want to pick, but I just picked length. I don't know why. Now, I really hope you're drawing or doing something in your book or on a paper that follows along. So now I'm saying that the other distance we're going to call the width. Now, some of you are yelling, Mr. Stubb, that's the length. I don't care. Too bad. You're not the one sitting in front of the camera. Booyaka shot. Okay, so there's length and width. Okay, so let's go and shrink my camera for a sec. So here's our length. What part of the cylinder, what measurement might that actually be? Look at that animation. That is PowerPoint level 3. All of you following at home. Okay. This length, okay, is the same as this measurement that I gave you on the test question. But what do I call it? Tell me in the chat. What do I call it on a test question? Because I don't call it length. Okay? So, in other words, I'm going to be calling this Not easy to write on a soup can. Height. I forgot the H. Pretend that didn't happen. That was embarrassing. Okay, so the height of the soup can, of the cylinder, lines up with the measurement of that rectangle that we call length. Okay? Stick with me. A little confusing here. It will make sense once we put it all together. Okay, so if you're sitting there confused out of your mind, don't panic. Don't close the video. Stick with me. We can always rewind and go over this again. Okay, so what I'm going to say here is that the length is the same as the measurement height. So instead of writing length, let's write height. Okay, so the area of this rectangle is height times something. Okay, so now we have the width. This is the most important portion of the lesson, that you understand, that you follow this. Okay, we're calling this the width. We're calling this the width. And a lot of people make this mistake. They just plug in the radius here. But the measurement, I don't even have a ruler here. That's really bad teaching. Okay, look, we'll use this. Radius is half. Okay, half the distance across a circle. Bring that over here. Not even close to the length of that width. So you cannot use radius. Well, that's okay, Mr. Stav, just double it and you get the diameter. Okay, so let's put our marker all the way across here. Measure the diameter. That's a rough measurement. Well, that far is the soup can. Still doesn't bring us the whole width of this rectangle. So you can't use radius. You can't use diameter. What is the distance of the width of this triangle? This is such an important part. Put it in the chat. I want the chat to be blowing up. I want everybody to be putting the same answer eventually. Once you see somebody write it, then you write it too. Good. Okay? It's so important here. This is the moment that you understand that when I take the width of this soup can label and it wraps around the perimeter of this circle, what do we call the perimeter of a circle? Let's go back in time. Whoa! Okay, remember we drew this? Okay, we already got past it. The perimeter of a circle is called what? The perimeter of a circle is called what? Circumference. You notice how long the circumference is. The circumference is the distance around a circle. A label wraps around the circle. So when we unravel this label, we actually know that it goes the exact circumference of the circle. So let's come back to here. And look, the width, write this down in your notes. This is so important. The width is equal to the circumference. Oh, look at these trackpad writing skills. I ran out of space. But you know what I was trying to write. Okay, write this in. The width of this rectangle is equal to the circumference of the circle. So we're going to write that in. Times, I'm going to write C for circumference. Okay? Are you with me? This is the confusing, tricky part, but it all makes sense. Okay? Okay, go back in time. You say to me, Mr. Stav, I don't have the circumference measurement. I don't have it. You didn't give it to me. You gave me radius and length. And so you're saying, Mr. Stav, or radius and height. So I can use height, but I can't use radius. How do I know the circumference? So that's where we go back in time to, I think, November, when we talked about this. How do we calculate the circumference? Circumference equals pi times diameter. Write that down in your notes. To find circumference, you need to multiply pi by the diameter. Now, do we have those measurements in our question? Fly back here. Do we have pi? We always have pi. We know what pi is. 3.14159. That's the way we calculate pi. Do we have diameter? We do not. You're yelling at the screen and you're saying, Mr. Stav, radius is half of the diameter, so 2/10 makes the diameter 20. Okay? I apologize if I'm confusing you. I'm doing my best. Okay? So, since we don't have circumference, we can't just type in or swap in something for C. Instead of writing circumference, we're going to write the formula for circumference. So we're going to say height, okay, length and height, and to find out width, we have to find the circumference. Okay. So let me write this down here. What the heck? Turn it. Circumference. Okay? So the width wraps around the circumference. To calculate circumference, it's pi d. Pi d. Okay? Okay, we do not need that multiplication sign, right? Algebra, we don't need it. Karan was yelling at the screen. Meher was yelling at the screen. Everybody was just yelling at the screen saying, Mr. Stav, I know Nathaniel was. So get rid of that times sign. Get rid of that multiplication. Get rid of that x. Okay? And so, to find the area of the rectangle on a cylinder, instead of saying length times width, because we don't have those measurements, we instead use the measurements that we do have, which is height and diameter. Okay, because on a question, you are going to somehow get those dimensions. Whether it be through what I give you or through Math Murder, you can figure out these dimensions. Okay, so let's go back to our formula. We say area of a cylinder, remember, the top circle, the bottom circle, and the rectangle. So, area of two circles, remember what we said? The area of a circle is pi r squared. We're going to multiply that because we have two circles, so 2 pi r squared. The area of a rectangle is length times width. Notice that we're adding the circles and the rectangle. We're combining those two. We're saying this plus this plus this. Okay? But wait, Mr. Stav, we just talked about this. We don't have length and width, so let's replace it with what we do have. Height, pi, and diameter. Remembering that this calculates circumference. Okay? Write all of that in. Let me clean that up. That, my friends, is the formula that we are going to use a lot this week. You'll notice it's a lot longer and a lot more work than last week. Okay, couple extra bed math steps. Okay, you also probably say to me, Mr. Staff, this is harder to remember. So there are a bunch of different ways that you can remember this. Okay, if you have any ideas, put it in the chat. Okay, let me know what you think is a good way to remember this. Okay. All right. One of the most common ways that my students suggest to remember this, check it out. They think that this pi sign looks like a table and this looks like a chair. And that this looks like a chair. So they think it looks like a table and chairs. Okay? So, if you can remember pi r squared, and you can remember that there's two circles, the hardest part is remembering this weird part, the weird ending. All right? So some of my students will sometimes say, two circles, so 2 pi r squared plus table and chairs. That's what they'll say to me. I got it. I'll say, all right, what's the formula? They'll say pi r squared, 2 of those, and plus a table and chairs. And then they remember h pi d. Okay? This is what I normally kind of explain. And then last year, I actually, or maybe it was 2 years ago, I had a student who came up with a completely different way to remember this that I cannot wipe from my memory, and so I must share it with you. It is terrible. It's disgusting, and I have a feeling that many of you will like it. So, looking at pi and d, pied, 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 peed, pied. Honestly, it's quite a stretch what my student did to get to this point. But now you cannot unsee this. He peed. Yes, I can hear you, Zanaya. You're disgusted and you are laughing. But you're also disgusted. He peed. This is how some of my students remember this formula. Some remember table and chairs, and others remember there are 2 circles, pi r squared, plus he peed. However you want to remember it, that is totally up to you. I would not recommend saying this one to your high school teacher. They probably will kick you out of the classroom or make fun of you. So, this is the formula. Write this down. Notice the colors that I'm using are very intentional. This is, remember, we had 1 circle. The blue is another color to double it to get the second circle. And then he peed, or table and chairs, to figure out the rectangle. It does look harder without the colors. With the colors, 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 without the colors. Okay? Now, a question for you. What if a cylinder didn't have a top on it? So right now, if I close my cylinder, I've got the rectangle, the side, and I've got a top, and I've got a bottom. Right? We have 1 circle, 2 circles, and a rectangle. But what if there's no top on it? No circle, no surface area. If I was to paint this, I would paint the rectangle, I would paint this bottom, but there would be no circle here to paint. So the question is, how many circles are there? Since 1 circle is missing, we only have 1 circle. So how would this formula change if we only had 1 circle and not the second circle? Put it in the chat. How would this formula change if we only had one circle and we were missing a top? Put it in the chat. Well, let's go back to this and let's talk. We have the formula is one circle, times it by 2 or multiply it by 2 to get the second circle and the rectangle EP. So if I only have a bottom and no top, do I need to multiply it by 2? I do not. So then the formula just simply goes to pi r squared plus EP, or table of chairs, or height times pi times diameter. Do you understand how that works? If you understand it, write in the chat, say got it, got it. I want to see, got it. I just want to see you spam this chat right now. Got it, got it, got it, got it, got it, good. Okay? I'm going to pop these questions up here for you to try. Okay, they're not going to be on there long enough for you to actually do with me right now. So once this video is over in a couple of minutes, you're going to come back and you're going to go to the screen and you're going to try these questions, or maybe take a screenshot at this moment. Okay, practice these right before you walk away from your computer. Even though the live stream ends, pretend like you needed Mr. STAV stamp to leave your table. Okay, get these questions done. Okay, I'm going to post the answers right here. Oopsie. Move me. Okay, again, take a screenshot or come back to the screen, pause it, okay, and rewind when you're done the live stream. Okay, and just check your answers. So I'm not even going to leave the screen on too long. Okay. If you did go ahead and print out that pizza toss game last week, you can play again at home. And I'll leave the instructions here, and you can again pause the screen and come back to it when you're ready to play. But essentially, you're going to play with someone, and you're going to take turns picking a pepperoni, claiming a pepperoni, and claiming one by one. So I would choose, let's say, a pepperoni, and then you get to choose something. You could choose a pepperoni or a bacon. Okay, if you claim a bacon, then I go on to my turn. Okay, and the goal here is to create the biggest cylinder that you can using this method. Okay, it's explained fully in the instructions. You can pause it, come back to it. I don't know if you're actually playing it or not. I'm not marking it or anything. So it's totally designed to help you. So if you choose not to play, that's on you. Okay. I will, in mrstav.ca/math, the text center is a quizzes. Okay, this is a practice. I would like to see you complete it. Okay, you'll see the quizzes code and the direct link at mrstav.ca/math. Okay, complete that. Do your best on it. You can do it as many times as you like. Okay, I'll take your favorite mark. You tell me, I won't average them together. I'll take your favorite mark. This is not the exit ticket. This is not the quiz. This is not the test. This is the text center. This is the practice. Okay. Do the independent work. Okay. Print the independent work and bring it to your guided session. Okay. Come see me for guided with the paper on your desk. Okay. Ideally, bring highlighters. Okay. Come prepared, as we are going to work together and answer some of the hardest questions. Okay, I would recommend looking through it and trying some before, so that when you come to guide, you can say, Mr. Staff, hold on, can you just stop? I don't need help with 3. I need help with 7. Can you really help me with 7? I don't get 7. That's more valuable use of your time. If you come prepared with, Mr. Staff, can you help me with this question? Okay, so with that said, how did we get the formula? We found the area of one circle. We multiplied that by 2 to get the second circle. And then we found the area of the rectangle. The rectangle has a dimension. The height dimension is fine. But the hardest part is finding this dimension, which is the perimeter or the circumference of the circle, or in other words, the width. So we can go length times width. Area equals E P'd. Area equals pi r squared. Kabang! Should have done it at the beginning. What a good idea I had at the very end of my lesson. Okay, so if you have questions, this chat will close immediately following this video. Okay, so what I'll do is I will put up these try it questions. Okay, and I will leave the chat open. And if you are watching post live release, then you can turn off the video now. It is done. Okay, but I'm going to hang out here with the try it questions on. Okay, if you have a question or if you want to shout an answer to me in the chat, just be like, purple cylinder, answer it equals what? Okay. What are our units? What are our units? What are our units? Oh, units matter. Okay. So let's go through, let's do the pink one together. Purple, pink. Okay. Area equals, what's the first thing we always write? The formula. Okay. So area of the circle is pi r squared. Okay. How many circles are there? There's 2 of them. And then we add EP. Okay. Now here's the trickiest part, is that you notice this is radius and this is diameter. Don't get tricked here. Okay. You're going to have to remember, I'm going to leave pi in because I'm dealing with small space and writing with trackpad. Okay. Pi times 6.4 squared. So there's actually a bracket within the bracket. So that, at that point we would square off this bracket. Plus the height, which is 9.2. Oh, times pi times the diameter. Now you're yelling at me, Mr. STAV, you made a mistake. This is not 6.4. Good, I'm glad you noticed. 6.4 is the diameter, the whole way across. Okay, number 1's mistake that I'll see students make. Okay, they'll do just that. They'll just plug in the numbers. Okay, instead, you need your calculator. You need to say 6.4 divided by 2. 3.2. This is 3.2 to the power of 2. Man, this is ugly. I apologize. Okay, so we got to follow BEDMAS. First step is write the formula. Second is plug in what you know. The third step is BEDMAS, and those exponents always need to be done. Okay, so we have brackets. Do what's inside of the brackets first. Well, inside of those brackets is our exponent, so we need to do that. So I'm going to do 3.2 times 3.2, and I got 10.24. Ooh, got a lot better on this line. Okay, plus the 9.2 times pi times 6.4. Okay, on the next line, still follow BEDMAS, so we still have something in the brackets to do, so we have to do that first. Okay, so 10.24 times 3.14, which is 32.1536. Okay. Now, for the sake of time, I'm actually going to multiply these together because I don't want to have to write them together. So 9.2 times pi, which is 3.14, times 6.4, which equals 184 on this side. 184.8832. And I ran out of space. Okay. Again, if you're watching right now and you're not watching live and this is boring you, go ahead and turn off this video. What I'm trying to do is leave the chat open so that I can be answering questions. Okay. So I'm just doing this math question with those that are here. So now I'm going to go ahead and move on in BEDMAS. There's nothing left in the brackets to do. There are no operations, no functions. Okay. There's no exponents anywhere. Okay. No division anywhere. So now I come to multiplication. And yes, there is multiplication. So I'm going to multiply 32.1536 times 2. Right, this is the surface area of one circle. Now we multiply it to get 2 circles. That's 64.3072. And add on the area of the rectangle, okay, which is 184. I don't remember what the other. So let me just do 9.2 times 2.14 times 6.4. Oh, it's 184.8832. So we're going to add that to 64. All right, here we go. So area equals 249. Mr. Stav, how come you weren't rounding the whole way? Because I always like to wait till the end of my answer. So I got 249.1904. Let me stop it here at 19. 249. Okay. This is only half the mark. I need my units. And since this is area, it's units squared. So what you'll notice is it's a lot longer than last week. It's a lot more lines than last week. And it's a lot more BEDMAS. Okay. For me, the biggest watch out is this and this. Cannot put the same number in there. It changes everything. Okay. Remember, you need the radius and the diameter. Okay? That's the biggest difference. Okay. So with that said, I got to close up the chat and get ready for guided. All right. If you haven't signed up for guided, go do that. bit.ly/STAV online guided. Okay. Book yourself a slot for math help. And if you want, try booking an extra slot. Let's see. We had extra spaces last week, so I'd love to help you. Okay. Thanks for joining. Hopefully I didn't confuse you too much. I'm going to go make me some soup. Toodles. Toodle. Toodle toot.